It's on!
Hello everybody, it's on and it's time for another episode of Watching SWF. Let's see what's happening in the world of Total Extreme Wrestling. The Supreme Wrestling Federation held Supreme TV last night in Utah Park Reservation and drew 11,508 fans. Feedback has been pretty good. The main event saw Remo defeating Des Davids and the show achieved a 3.45 TV rating. Last night, TCW held TCW Presents Total Wrestling at the Ranch of San Antonio and drew 8,133 fans. Feedback from viewers has been excellent, and the star of the show was Aaron Andrews, who had a match last night with Jalen Martins. Total Wrestling achieved a 3.91 TV rating, achieving the best numbers of the night. On the show, Noon Express debuted as the newest tag team force in TCW. The duo consists of Bart Biggins and Bradford Peveril and were announced as a regular team at last night's show. We can confirm that Dazzling Dave Diamond has been injured with a broken leg from his match last night with Freddie Huggins. It's thought that he'll be looking at around 6 months out of action while he recovers. Rumors are also emerging from the TCW locker room, suggesting that Flint Slater and Bart Biggins had an enormous bust-up last night. According to some sources, there is a serious problem with their interpersonal relationship, and it's becoming bad enough that it's starting to sour the backstage atmosphere within the company. In other news, Skip Bowe has auctioned off some of the unique artifacts he's collected over the years from his career, raising a significant sum on social media that he has donated to a charity that he supports. And big news out of USPW, it seems that Sterling Whitlock is set to leave USPW after apparently not being offered a contract extension. Insider sources say that the company has no further use for him, and once his current deal is complete, he will be done with the promotion. USPW held American Wrestling last night in Connecticut Symphony Hall and drew 7,826 fans. The star of the show is said to be Pariah, who had an excellent match with Tiffany Jade, and American Wrestling was shown to over 10 million fans on Reverie. The Canadian Wrestling Alliance held Championship Wrestling last night in Quebec Stade Uniprix and drew 8,231 fans. The performance of the night belonged to Christian Price, and the show is getting excellent reviews. The match of the night was Brooke Tyler defeating Laura Flame, and Championship Wrestling drew a 1.49 TV rating. There appears to be a friendship blossoming between Robbie Sanchez and Melody, with sources in the USPW locker room reporting that the two have been spending a huge amount of time together recently, even hanging out in their free time before shows. RIPW held Uprising last night in Rhode Island and drew 76 fans. The star of the show was Fuyuko Higa, and Uprising drew over 10,000 fans on WrestleWorld. Tabitha Litchfield has confirmed that she has now begun her hiatus from the wrestling business. No word on how long she'll be taking time off. Welcome to Supreme TV on Thursday night. We are live in Salem, Oregon in front of 9,500 fans. Tonight, we are going to hear from our SWF World Heavyweight Champion, Rocky Golden. Also in action, we'll have Remo and Spencer Spade team up to take on Des Davids and Primus Allen. We'll also have the next match in our Tag Team Top Contender tournament when Swagger Incorporated takes on Faith and Old Glory. Now let's go to the ring and see what Rocky Golden has to say. Rocky Golden makes his entrance for a promo to open the show tonight. Golden starts by saying that he's shocked at the results of the main event on Tuesday's Supreme TV. First, he addresses Jerry Eisen and his influence on the results. It's clear that his rivalry with his brother Eric is affecting his judgment, which is concerning for the World Heavyweight title match coming up at Nothing to Lose. Golden adds that while he's confident in his ability to defend the title, the deck seems stacked against the Supreme Stars who embrace the new SWF programming. He will be contacting his good friend Jack Bruce to discuss ways to ensure his title match is a fair fight. Next, Golden addresses his upcoming opponent. He says that he's sure Remo didn't collude with Jerry Eisen to win his match, but he definitely took advantage. Golden references Remo's moniker as the ultimate bully in SWF and says that he knows just what to do with a bully. He'll be paying attention to the main event tonight and is prepared for anything to happen at Nothing to Lose. Now it's time for our first match of the night. Rogue comes out to the ring, followed by his opponent Marshall Dillon. The ref calls for the bell and both men meet in the middle of the ring. Marshall Dillon has the slight weight and height advantage and tries to use it in these opening grapples, but Rogue keeps locking in holds to slow Dillon down. Rogue's technical skills are on display as he attempts submission holds and pin combinations to steal a victory. Marshall Dillon's weight advantage comes into play as he press slams Rogue, who rolls out of the ring. As Dillon gives chase, Franklin Fumier and Joanne Rodriguez agree that Dillon is the better athlete. On the outside, Rogue dodges a running knee strike and Dillon is hung up on the guardrail. Damian Carville just calls that good tactics. Rogue breaks the count and goes for a chair, but Shane Stones is able to stop him and Dillon gets the upper hand and tosses Rogue back into the ring. Rogue is quick to get to his feet and ties up Dillon as he gets to the apron. A suplex gets both Supreme Stars back between the ropes, and Rogue goes right back to an armbar, but Dillon powers out and gets to his feet. A combination of slams allows Dillon to whip Rogue into the corner, but he's slow to capitalize. Rogue uses a knee strike to push Dillon back and then delivers a double axe handle from the middle rope. It looks like Rogue is wearing Marshall Dillon down, and the result seems to be inevitable. Dillon tries to fight back, relying on his size and power, but Rogue uses his speed and experience to stun Dillon and whip him into the corner. Rogue signals to the crowd and lands a crashing on, allowing him to hook the leg and gain a pinfall victory. Now Chrissy Angel enters the ring for a promo and explains that she was one of the lucky members of the SWF to be selected as a sexy model for the Supreme workout video hosted by Kip Keenan. She explains that her and Keenan became close during the shoot, but that doesn't affect her professional relationship with Brandon James. She also explains that it's important for both James and Kip Keenan to come to the ring and settle the animosity. Both Brandon James and Kip Keenan make their entrances to the ring. Kip Keenan has an explanation of his own, putting all the blame on Chrissy Angel as the aggressor. Keenan attempts to ensure Brandon James that there's no beef between them and what happened between him and Angel is already over. Keenan barely gets the words out before Brandon James attacks Keenan and the two men fight as Chrissy Angel leaves the ring, with James getting the upper hand in the end. In what appears to be a creepy hostage video, Hannah tells Valiant not to return to SWF as Scythe looks on menacingly. Let's go to the ring where we have Cheech Kong and Dropkicks making their SWF debut. They're going to face off against Domination, the SWF World Tag Team Champions, and they put their titles on the line for this match. Here's the bell, and Bear Bukowski and Cheech Kong start things off with Bukowski dominating the contest and Bukowski tagging in his partner to keep control. Smasher lays a beating on Cheech Kong, but Dropkicks gets tagged in and knocks Bear Bukowski off the apron before facing Smasher. Adam Smasher makes both his opponents pay, taking them both on with strikes and slams. He's not holding anything back. Bear Bukowski is on the apron and Adam Smasher tags in Bukowski. All four men are fighting in the ring until Adam Smasher tosses Cheech Kong and follows him to the outside. Now Bear Bukowski lifts up Dropkicks into the bear trap and there's a tap out. Domination win. After a dominating win by Domination, Dropkicks looks hurt and Adam Smasher and Bear Bukowski take their SWF tag team titles and exit the ring. On the way to the entrance stage, Cheech Kong approaches and confronts Smasher and Bukowski. Domination viciously slam him through a stage side table. Eric Eisen makes a special announcement from the safety of his Connecticut office. He says that he actually admires his brother for interfering in the SWF World Title Top Contender match on Supreme TV, but he sees that Jerry is frustrated by SWF Elite's success. Eisen has a problem, however. Paying Jerry's 15% fine to wrestlers who work Elite is burning a hole in his pocket, and it's not sustainable. Luckily, all SWF Supreme Stars have a clause in their contract that Eric can and will exploit. From now on, Eric Eisen will only pay the Elite fine for wrestlers who win matches. That will both incentivize competition on the show and alleviate some of the financial burden. Our next matchup is the next round of the Tag Team Top Contender Tournament. We have Swagger Incorporated taking on Faith and Old Glory. Looks like it's going to be Mainstream Hernandez starting this match off, and Mass Patriot starting things off on his side. Here's the bell, and Mainstream Hernandez starts things off by offering Mass Patriot a test of strength, but a thumb to the eye gives him control early. Hernandez and Patriot trade blows, but Hernandez uses his ability to fly to knock Patriot out of the ring and tag in his partner. Dominic D'Souza is the legal man, but 6'6" Maddie Faith climbs in and takes on both opponents. Faith evens the odds, and Mass Patriot squares off against Dominic D'Souza. Patriot outclasses him in every way and tags in Maddie Faith to finish things off, but Mainstream Hernandez jumps from the top to knock his opponents down. Damian Carville is excited as Hernandez gets tagged in and locks in a submission hold on Maddie Faith. Faith has the size advantage and a series of tags follow. Patriot versus Hernandez, D'Souza versus Patriot, Faith versus D'Souza. Franklin Fumier is busy discussing the rest of the tag tournament as the action continues, while Joanne Rodriguez says she hopes to have the winners on her podcast. D'Souza and Faith make hot tags, and we get a series of strikes, counters, holds, and reversals from Mass Patriot and Mainstream Hernandez. Patriot gets Hernandez in the corner, but Mainstream fights back and sticks a flying crossbody for 2. The legal men try to make it to their feet for tags as their partners work the crowd. Tags are made, and Maddie Faith is just too much for Dominic D'Souza. To stop Maddie Faith's momentum, Mainstream Hernandez catches Faith's foot from the outside, and Faith gives chase as the ref tells him to get back into the ring. Justice Jolson appears and uses that opportunity to get into the ring, where Dominic D'Souza has Mass Patriot locked in a full Nelson. Mass Patriot sees Justice Jolson coming and ducks the clothesline that catches Dominic D'Souza. Mass Patriot drop kicks Jolson out of the ring and gives chase. After making quick work of Mainstream Hernandez on the outside, Maddie Faith is on the top turnbuckle and dives with a leap of faith that catches D'Souza in the middle of the ring for a 3 count and victory. Gary the Entertainer is in the ring with a microphone and a friend of his. He introduces the fans to Leon the Chameleon, Gary's new manager and hand puppet. Gary does his routine with Leon until he's interrupted by Robbie Wright. Robbie Wright tells Gary he's out of his mind and he doesn't have the charisma to pull off such a nuanced performance. Gary and Robbie have a little back and forth in an attempt to outdo each other with insults. Finally, Gary tells Robbie that he should watch his back, and Robbie takes this as a threat, but little does he know, Oliver Cobb has snuck into the ring behind him and is ready to lay a beatdown. Wright turns around and Cobb easily gets the upper hand in this fight before working the crowd with Gary and Leon. Hey y'all, remember to like and subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments, and set your notifications so that you know every time it's on. In a pre-taped promo, Unleashed Awesomeness discussed their place in SWF. First, Jefferson Stardust and Huey Cannonball talk about how they've defeated some of the best competition in the Tag Team Top Contender Tournament, including Big Bumhole and his angry friend. The Awesomeness looks forward to defeating their next opponents, Old Faithful or whatever, before taking the World Tag Team titles from Dummy Nation. Next, Randy Unleashed officially accepts the challenge his brother made for a match against Mikey Lau. Lau can't make his own challenges, so he should be easy to defeat at nothing to lose. Here comes our main event. We have a tag team matchup where Spencer Spade and Remo are taking on Des Davids and Primus Allen. Both halves of each team really want to get at their opponent, with Des Davids looking for a little revenge from his loss to Remo, and Primus Allen looking to get his hands on Spencer Spade and make sure he wins their next matchup together. There's the bell, and this match starts off slow with Remo and Davids quickly clashing before tags are made. Spade outmaneuvers Des Davids, but Davids is able to make a tag to Primus Allen, who can't wait to get his hands on Spade. Spade rolls out of the ring, and there's a bit of cat and mouse on the outside as Franklin Fumier tries to explain the stories behind this tag match, but Damian Carville has to correct the record, and Joanne Rodriguez comments that she should really go into detail on her podcast. The action starts when Remo is tagged in and goes after Primus Allen. Allen goes hard, forcing Remo to make a tag, but a shoulder block from Allen gets Spade to make a blind tag to Remo. Remo powers up and enters the ring with a head of steam. When Remo bulldozes over Allen, he lets him tag in David so these two bitter rivals can go one-on-one. And nobody wants this. The rest of the Rat Pack surround the ring, and surprisingly, even Remo isn't having it. Both Des Davids and Remo actually work together to chase off fame and money. Unfortunately, the ref is distracted too, and Hollywood Bret Starr is able to attack Primus Allen on the outside, focusing on the need to keep Allen off balance. As Hollywood Starr sneaks off, Spade leaves Allen as Remo and Des Davids go back to brawling in the ring. Remo gets the advantage when Des Davids turns his attention to Spencer Spade, but Davids reverses the hold. Both men hit the ropes, and a double lariat brings these men to the mat. After a count of 6, both legal men make tags, and Spencer Spade and Primus Allen brawl. Allen quickly takes control and lifts Spade up for a power slam, but his knee buckles and Spade slips away. Remo stops Davids, and Spade has the clear advantage. With Remo and Davids fighting on the outside of the ring, Allen tries to make a comeback, but Spade kicks the knee and drops his opponent with a supreme stunner for the pinfall win. And we're out of time. That will do it for this episode of SWF Elite. We'll see you next time on Tuesday for Supreme TV. Let's see what's happening in the world of Total Extreme Wrestling. Last night, Supreme Wrestling Federation held SWF Elite in Salem, Oregon, and drew 9,491 fans. This episode of Elite drew a 2.90 TV rating. And in surprising news, this will be the last episode of SWF Elite. The show was dropped by USA Sports 1 after a string of poorly received shows. This setback will undoubtedly affect the TV plans for SWF in the next year at least. One Man Army out of TCW. It looks like One Man Army may be on his way out through no choice of his own after the company decide not to renew his current contract. Last night, USPW held All Action Night in Toledo, Ohio, and drew 2,396 fans. All night action was shown on Revelry and got a good reaction from fans. Rumors are emerging from the USPW locker room that suggests Trent Schaefer and Crusher Karloff had an enormous bust-up last night, and their heated argument is all the talk of the backstage area. Rumors are indicating that Brock Cornish is set to sign a contract extension to stay with USPW within the next 2 weeks. It had been heavily rumored that he was going to be allowed to leave, but the current feeling is that this was false and he will be kept on staff. TCW have apparently begun negotiations to extend the contract of one of their top stars, Matt Hawking. Inside sources say the company is confident that the deal will be done very soon without any problems. Primus Allen hurt. Early reports are saying that Primus Allen of SWF has sustained broken ribs during a house show last night. He apparently left the ring under his own power. He's not expected to miss any dates, but early estimates are saying that it will take a few weeks for him to fully heal.